You had such promise. You could have been my successor, my equal. But now... finish him.
Looks like we're talking about Sweet Pea today. Now, one thing I'm going to be saying right off the bat is the fact that we're going to be going over an entire character analysis on him later on. However, today I'm just going to be going over the basis of his character along with his connection to the Lich. I'm also going to be going over his supposed biology as well as what happened to him 1,000 years later into the future. With that being said, let's begin. Now, wasting no time, Sweet Pea is the rebooted form of the Lich and by extension, the vessel at which the essence of the Lich is being contained. Sweet Pea was born after the undead body of the Lich was rebooted thanks to the help of Citadel Guardian blood. Now, one thing that I have to say almost immediately right off the bat is the fact that the two are entirely different beings. Sweet Pea and the Lich share entirely different memories, ideals, as well as their own individuality, and they are in a continuous struggle in order for one to basically be the protagonist of the body. Now, Sweet Pea is incredibly interesting due to the fact that not only is he the vessel for the Lich, but he's also an entirely different being on his own, as well as the fact that he is basically a gigantic baby man, literally. When the Lich's form was rebooted, he was given an entirely new set of organs, including muscles, tissue, and pretty much everything else in between, and this includes the brain. This is why Sweet Pea himself, although he's obviously more intelligent than someone for his age, he is still by all means pretty much a baby by the time we actually interact with him. Now, this made him a perfect candidate to become a good guy simply due to the fact that Mr. Pig and Tree Trunks would have a chance to raise him to become an incredibly respectable fellow. Now, although I already mentioned that the Lich and Sweet Pea are two separate individuals, they are still intrinsically linked. This results in various things, such as him seeing memories of their past lives. This usually translates into very strange dreams, such as him being able to basically dream about particular memories that the Lich had experienced either as his time as a catalyst comet or as his time as the Lich. Now, as you'd imagine, looking into the mind and memories of a primordial entity that is older than time probably isn't that great for your mental health, so it always devolves into a nightmare. It especially doesn't help that the Lich is continuously trying to force Sweet Pea to embrace him by tormenting him with various memories, pretty much continuously whispering to Sweet Pea to give up his own body for the Lich to inhabit, as well as embrace the darkness that is within him.
Evil.
Whoa! Get off him!
Now, this leads us into the relationship between the two, and believe me, it is not healthy in the slightest. Interestingly enough, considering every single version of the Lich has the exact same memories, other versions of the Lich, specifically the farm world version, would call him son, which actually would make sense considering that Sweet Pea is by all means a descendant of the Lich. However, he obviously does this more in a joking matter because obviously he does not care about Sweet Pea at all, but simply having another partner in his continuous quest to destroy all life. Now, one of the major reasons why I believe the Lich was so interested in Sweet Pea was due to the fact that he would prove as the perfect vessel. One of the major weaknesses of the Lich is the fact that he tends to actually have incredibly fragile bodies. Very few vessels ever allow him to utilize his power at 100% efficiency. However, this would have been a non-issue when it came to Sweet Pea. If the Lich had actually managed to transform Sweet Pea into a whole new incarnation of himself, he would have become one of the most powerful versions of the Lich. To give you an idea of just how powerful we're talking the full 100% power of the Lich plus a near invulnerable body which is immune to 90% of all magic, and when Sweet Pea was fully grown, he had the exact same size as a primordial. To put it bluntly, he was a beefy boy and was larger than mountains, and if the Lich had obtained that incredible power, nothing would have stood a chance against him, especially with the help of a fully powered farm world Lich, which most likely would have happened. Now, luckily for every single living creature alive, this would never actually come to pass. Due to Sweet Pea getting over his own insecurities, as well as believing himself to be who he truly was, which was by all means a good individual, he would suppress the Lich and defeat the farm world Lich. Now, what a lot of people tend to get wrong is that the Lich pretty much died here, and that cannot be further from the case. The Lich is still there. Here's the thing, you cannot get rid of the Lich. There is just no way you can do it. He is the literal embodiment of evil, and even if you destroy his physical form, he will eventually return. In this particular case, all Sweet Pea is doing is simply suppressing him, which is absolutely insane when you realize that Sweet Pea is continuously suppressing the Lich with sheer willpower alone. However, by all means, the Lich is still there, and if an opportunity ever arises for him to possibly take control of the body, you bet your butt that he's definitely going to go for it. Now, moving on from Sweet Pea's original form, let's go ahead and talk about the one that we see 1,000 years later into the future. And let me tell you, it's definitely something else. Not only is he the literal size of mountains, but he also possesses the Nightblade, one of the most powerful artifacts in the world. Now, this actually is pretty interesting because it could mean that he was mentored by Finn in order to become a more powerful warrior later in life. However, I feel as though him having a sword is far more important than a lot of people give it credit for. Now, I've mentioned this many times in many videos, however, let me go ahead and go in detail here, which is the idea that's possible that Finn gave him the sword specifically in order to deal with the Lich. You see, the Night Sword has a very interesting ability, with its power basically being designed in order to suppress the power of incredibly powerful and malevolent creatures such as ghosts, demons like hunson and abadeer, and quite possibly the Lich. So considering that Sweet Pea was having the Sakuna treatment, it's possible that he gave it to him specifically to combat this. Now the last thing that I thought I should mention is whether or not I believe the Lich could ever return, and the answer is absolutely. As I mentioned before, his essence can never be destroyed or removed, so considering that his essence is still in Sweet Pea, well, this means that there's still a chance. However, I do not see him coming back easily, considering Sweet Pea has most likely done everything he can to make sure that that never happens. However, I can see this happening within 3 certain scenarios, such as Sweet Pea's death, whether or not Sweet Pea is in a life or death situation and the Lich tries to take over in the meantime, or possibly if he willingly allows him. However, I do not see that last one happen. So let's start off with Sweet Pea's death. Now this one is actually the most likely, considering Sweet Pea has been alive for over 1,000 years and he's bound to die eventually, considering I do not believe he is actually immortal. After the 1,000-year time skip, it is quite clear that he did in fact age, growing out a beard, growing out his hair, showing small wrinkles, as well as increasing in size. So taking this into consideration, it's possible that he's not fully immortal, and this means that when he dies of natural causes, the Lich can basically just swoop in, take the corpse, and obtain all that juicy power. There's also a possibility of him dying to physical injury. However, I don't really see that happening, considering this man has survived over 1,000 years of battle. However it happens, one thing is definitely certain, which is the fact that Sweet Pea is a ticking time bomb. One thing I thought I should also mention is that it's possible that Sweet Pea may be actually the body of a primordial, considering that he not only possesses a somewhat greenish yellow color, which many other primordials possess, and his continuously growing size and power is also something that should be concerned about. But that's just a fun little theory. Anyway, that's all I got for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, go to my other social media platforms, and also I really enjoy these videos. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty short, like by all means. It could have been way longer, but I want to save that for like a full-on character analysis, because Sweet Pea is way more interesting than a lot of people give him credit for. Anyways, I won't keep ya, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye.